These fragrances are going to be the kings of compliments forever. Like, I really don't think there is any escaping these. So as tired as you might be of them right now, you might think it's a phase and they'll go away at some point. I don't think so. I mean, some of these have been around for a while now, and you're kind of just accepting the fact that people are still going to be wearing them as much as they can, and it's still going to be working great. You just can't escape them. But others of these, maybe a couple, are a little bit newer, and I predict the same thing. And so we will start things off with one that's been around for a long time at this point and needs no introduction, will never go away, will go down in history as one of the most successful men's designer fragrances of all time. And it's Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. Even the Eau de Toilette, same deal. And honestly, the Parfum is still, of course, an incredible compliment getter as well. But I would say the Eau de Parfum is probably the one that's still being purchased the most, if I had to guess, just because it's kind of just, well, it's in the middle. There's no kind of about it. It is right in the middle, but it also makes sense. Like, it's not quite as bright as the Eau de Toilette. It has a better performance, a little, but it's not as rich as the Parfum 2. It still has the birch, grapefruit, incense, collaboration there that the Parfum doesn't have. They're using lemon zest and some sandalwood, and you got some other things going on over there. But this still has that signature, true to its name, Bleu de Chanel smell, which is absolutely breathtaking. It's incredible. The opening is great. This one, it still smells amazing years and years later, and I don't think that's ever going to change. You could still pick this one up, spray it on, walk out the door, and you're still going to get compliments. I mean, you just can't avoid that. I mean, just because a lot of people have worn it and are still wearing it over the years doesn't make this exempt from smelling good to people. I think there's some level of commonality that actually helps a scent to perform better in the compliment department. If it's something that nobody has ever smelled before, they might not register with it right away, and they might not even necessarily know if they think it smells good yet. But when you've smelled something multiple times and you like it, when you pick up on that on somebody else, you're more likely to say, hey, you smell great, and in their head they're probably thinking, I know what he's wearing too. And so just something to think about. I don't think Bleu de Chanel, Eau de Parfum, or any of them will ever be going away. Great compliment Polar. It's just a no-brainer that won't let you down. Next up, we have Azzaro Chrome Extreme. So this one's, it's a little bit newer, but still it's not new, right? I think this was, a 2020 release, something like that. Came out at basically the same time that Acqua di Gio Profondo did. And this one also happens to smell a lot like Acqua di Gio Profondo. So it's one of my favorites, Profondo. And so by default, I'm going to like this one a lot too, because it's very similar. The difference is going to be, obviously, this is, less than half the cost, $40 versus up over 100 for Profondo for the typical size bottle that you would expect to get, the 120, 125, which kind of places it near this, which is, I'm double checking, a 100 ml. So, kind of trying to get them as close as they can. The price gap is pretty noticeable, and for a lot of people that's attractive. I mean, for $40 you're getting a great product here, something that is super refreshing and works great in the high summer heat, has great mass appeal, and smells like a much more expensive designer scent, which is from a world-class perfumer that has made many other great scents. So there's a lot to like about this one. It does have a lot of the orange and the marine notes in here, some woody notes, a little bit of an ambroxan, ambergris undertone, which is kind of prominent throughout so many scents, whether it's listed off as a prominent note or not. Chances are in a lot of these fresher scents, they're using it to some extent, great or not. And in here, picking up on it a little bit. And so Acqua di Gio Profondo, it's a huge hit, big compliment Polar. Everybody loves it, for the most part. So this is also going to automatically be lumped into that crowd as well. I don't see Profondo going anywhere as far as compliment factor and wearability, and this is just contingent on it not getting discontinued, right? Which, not saying it's going to happen, but there's always that possibility. I don't see Bleu de Chanel getting discontinued, but with Acqua di Gio and how they've moved some things around throughout the line over the years, there's always something to think about. So I don't see this one going anywhere either. It's a really nice, modern, refreshing marine scent that I think will work great for years and years to come. Next up, we have a niche scent. And no, it's not Creed Aventus, but it's probably one of the next Creed Aventuses, you know, as far as just being cloned all the time and also just being really popular, you know, expensive, but yet still very popular, which is kind of a weird thing to overcome, you know, Parfums de Marly Layton, which it is weird when you think about it, the price that these go for on discounters, yet they still get so popular. It's insane. I mean, these are a lot of money. There's nothing to scoff at about the price of niche scents, right? That's a lot of money for a cologne. And so, like I said, there are a lot of clones at this point, you know, $30, $35, $40 clones, somewhere around in there, sometimes maybe a touch more, but for the most part, that's kind of where you're landing. And you can get something that smells like this for that price. But just to keep it simple and to just, you know, cover a broad range of things, Layton is what I'm talking about. This smell, this DNA, I don't think will ever disappear as far as getting compliments. I think this will work really well for many, many years to come. And so whether you're choosing to wear a clone to save some money or you're going for the real thing, as long as you have something that smells like Layton, it's going to work. It's just a very sweet, appley, cinnamon, tonka scent, which all of that stuff is nothing new. Vanilla as well. Nothing new. It's been combined before. It's been done. It doesn't smell like Eros, but what I will say is that it's kind of in that category-ish, because Eros has the vanilla, the apple, the mint, all of that stuff. This one doesn't have mint per se, but anytime I smell this one and I bring it up, it's got like a menthol texture when you smell it. And when you pick up on it, it's there. So it doesn't smell really anything like Eros, but it's in that category of just a sweet scent that's combining a bunch of things. It works really well. Great compliment puller. Next up, we have the original Prada L'Homme. It's an eau de toilette, obviously, and this is just the first of the line and, you know, by far the most popular. Now, they haven't had a ton of flankers, you know, at least in comparison to a lot of these other brands. You've got Intense, Water Splash, Absolute, and Low, right? Absolute has been discontinued. Haven't been able to get that one for a while. Water Splash is kind of iffy, but that one is basically going hand in hand with Prada L'Homme Low. So that kind of leaves three, essentially, that you can really bite into. The original, Intense, and Low, or substitute Water Splash. They're kind of the same thing. So haven't had a ton going on here, but this one has always been really popular. It's been in a lot of complimented videos. It's been in a lot of office scent videos. It's just a great signature scent. I mean, really, if you want a no-brainer, everyday scent and do everything and you just don't have to worry about it or think about it, you don't have to sit there and decide, okay, what am I going to wear today? This is confusing. This is hard. Something like this, you can just pick up and spray it on. When in doubt, grab this, spray it on, and now you're set for any situation. Formal, casual, whatever. It doesn't matter. Any time of year as well. And when you can get this one for around $100, at one point a little bit less, but that's kind of where it is now. For a lot of people, it's kind of a no-brainer. You can just really get your money's worth out of it. And people love how it smells. A nice soft iris scent with a lot of citrus in here. Smells phenomenal. Nice and refreshing in the summer, but has a tiny powdery bite for cooler weather. Just a great one. Let's keep it moving with Azzaro Wanted by Night. You know, I mean, it's by far probably the most popular Wanted release. And granted, this was, I mean, the first flanker. So it went Azzaro Wanted, Wanted by Night, and Tonic at some point, you know, or whatever. But more at this point, Most Wanted Parfum. But this one really, really took off. And there's quite a bit of a gap between this and like the Most Wanted Parfum and so on. Now they have the Eau de Toilette Intense or something. So the line is expanding, but Wanted by Night I think is still just one of the best ones. It's using that original DNA, but they're adding in some tobacco and some cinnamon. So true to its name, it does smell like a nighttime version of the original. Just sweeter, a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more sexy, where the original is, you know, a lot more fresh and playful. You know, there's a little bit of a, like, I don't even want to say classy because it's still a very sweet and kind of young smelling scent, but there's a little bit more of a edge to this one in a good positive light. So, you know, whatever you want to take with that, that's kind of what I'm saying. Not classy, not formal, but also not super, super young smelling either. It just kind of strikes a little bit of a balance. Next up, we have Blanc Explorer. You guys know all about this one. Of course, it's a Creed Aventus clone, and there are tons and tons of Creed Aventus clones out there. And, I brought up Aventus earlier when talking about, Leighton. And at this point, it's like, okay, you kind of go whatever direction you want with it as far as the clones. You can go for a designer clone. You can go for a clone brand clone because they're all over the board. When designer brands start cloning something, it's good. And so as far as that's concerned, you're always going to see some sort of Aventus smelling item in a complemented video or just working really well. And I would say as far as broad reach and just and kind of mainstream, Explorer is going to be the one that reaches out there the most because it's a designer brand, a pretty well-respected designer brand too. And so brands like Armaf and Parfums Vintage and things of that nature might not get the same type of reach and coverage as something like this. So I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon. I think this is something that's going to get a lot of people into the community for the first time. I'm sure it has already, but I think it'll continue to be the case. Let's go with Dolce Gabbana the One Eau de Parfum up next. I mean, it doesn't even look like Dolce Gabbana the One. Just goes to show how much the liquid makes the presentation in this instance here. We'll grab a full one and give you the full effect. See, that's how it should look. Well, I mean, that's how it looks when you get it brand new out of the box. If you're doing it right and you start wearing it, it'll start to look worse and worse as time goes on. But look at that beautiful amber color, a nice gradient. Beautiful presentation. I love it. Super classy. But I do admittedly like the scent even more than that. It's a phenomenal, gorgeous amber and tobacco scent. One of the best out there. Just truly a work of art, a masterpiece. And it's something that everybody loves the smell of. Yes, it's popular. Yes, a lot of people wear it or have worn it over the years and all of that. Similar argument that we talked about earlier. But it's still going to absolutely do wonders. If you just want to smell good, especially in the cooler times of the year, get Dolce & Gabbana the One Eau de Parfum. And last up for this video, this one had to be in there, kind of a no-brainer. It's YSL Y Eau de Parfum. It's just taken off like wildfire at this point and still is a very popular one. But it didn't take long for this to shoot to like the first page of the bestsellers, not only on discounters, which it's there, but also on retail websites. So Sephora, Ulta, Macy's, FragranceNet, Joma Shop, all of the big discounters and retailers, Y Eau de Parfum has landed on the front page of their bestsellers, right? That is insane because it's not nearly as old as some of the OGs that have been on there for years. The original Eros, Versace, Dylan Blue, and even Pour Homme, and then plenty of other items, the original 1 million and stuff, right? Those have been on there for a long time. It didn't take long for this one to jump up there. It just went crazy and it got there fast. But really, it makes sense. It had everything done to spec as far as a compliment puller that'll just take off and get a ton of attention and popularity. So good on them for formulating this one and having it work well because it did and it still does. If you just want to smell good and have great performance too, which is another thing that really helped propel this one, the fact that it is so strong, this is something you need to look into. It's just going to get the job done. Alrighty guys, there you go. Some compliment pulling fragrances that you can never get away from. These are always going to make it in the videos. They're always just going to work. So if you want some fail-proof compliment getting scents that will stand the test of time, these are it. It's a good, safe place to sink your money into, and you're still just going to smell good to everybody for years to come. Because if you were to buy all of these or several of them and get good sized bottles, they'll last you for years, So you want to make sure that investment's still going to be able to be utilized years down the road, and you don't want to smell outdated or something. Don't have to worry about that with these. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.